Have you ever wondered how golf clubs are made? You're about to discover all the steps involved in creating the best golf clubs, from defining the club's design to its complete assembly and arrival in stores. You'll be impressed with every detail of the manufacturing process of this equipment. The first step in making a golf club is defining its design. Before mass-producing a golf club model, a prototype is created on paper or 3D modeling software so that the final product can be visualized before production begins. The design is carefully planned by professionals in the field so that every detail is produced in the best way possible, from the shaft to the angle of the head face. Once the team approves the club's design, it's time to manufacture a prototype. This is one of the most critical stages because everything that was planned comes to life. The prototype is the first version of the club that will be produced on a large scale. It is with the prototype in hand that manufacturers can adjust all the details before mass production begins. Designers and production engineers need to ensure that the club meets the players' expectations and has the expected performance. Therefore, hundreds of professionals are involved in this stage. Any planning error can cost players a lot of money in competitions, so companies invest millions of dollars in research and technology to produce better and better golf clubs. With the prototype in hand, it's time to check if it's comfortable, has the correct ergonomics, if the weight and balance are within quality standards, if the head face is effective for gameplay, and several other indispensable aspects of production. This is a moment of discoveries and adjustments, where every detail is carefully analyzed by dozens of professionals so that the club has all the required quality and performance standards demanded by players. Imagine mass-producing a club model and then discovering that there is a problem with that model. It would be very risky, right? Therefore, this first stage of design and prototyping is a crucial step to ensure that the club is produced with the necessary quality. With the prototype approved, it's time to select the materials for manufacturing. Choosing the correct material ensures that the club has the appropriate balance, resistance, and gameplay. Usually, clubs are made with wood, iron, and other components. Each of these materials needs to be carefully selected because their characteristics will affect the club's gameplay. If you play golf, you know that wooden clubs have a smooth and classic feel, while iron clubs have a heavy and solid feel. Another very important factor to consider when selecting materials is the function of the club being produced. To better understand, clubs made of wood are typically used for fairway shots, while iron clubs are more commonly used for green approaches. The choice of material will determine how the club is made, with iron clubs being cast and wood clubs being carved into shape. Once the material is defined, it is time to make the necessary cuts. Every millimeter makes a big difference in ensuring the club has the correct shape and dimensions. The selected material is cut into smaller pieces to make it easier to handle in the next stage of the manufacturing process, which is club shaping. The cutting is done in various ways depending on the chosen material. Wood clubs are cut using a band saw or table saw, while iron clubs are cut through machining or laser cutting. All equipment used in the cutting process is carefully programmed and professionals are highly trained to ensure the cut is precise and the club has the correct shape. A very important detail in this process is the quality of the cut, which directly affects gameplay as an improper cut affects the balance and weight distribution of the club. Companies strive to minimize material waste during production as it directly impacts the production costs of each club, and ultimately the cost for you when purchasing one. Now that you understand how club cutting works, it's time to learn about one of the most complex processes in golf club manufacturing, shaping. This is the stage where the chosen material is molded into the desired shape for the club. There are several ways to mold clubs during production, each with its own advantages and disadvantages. The most common ways to mold iron clubs are casting, machining, and injection. During the casting process, the material is heated to a high temperature and then poured into a mold to create the club's shape. In the machining process, the chosen material is carved from a rough block. In injection molding, the material is heated and injected into a mold, similar to casting but with some different processes. The most widely used method for molding golf clubs today is machining because of its high precision. You will learn all the details about this molding method later in this video. It is the molding that ensures the correct shape and size of the golf club, a very important factor in the molding process of the clubs, and it concerns the weight distribution of the club. Along with the shape, the weight of the club greatly affects the gameplay and accuracy of golf. An unbalanced club will lead to inaccurate shots and low player performance. Golf is a sport that demands a lot from equipment, especially the club, which endures a lot of impact. To ensure that it can withstand these conditions, manufacturers need to carefully select the material for production, following strict quality standards. Join me now as I present all the details of the golf club machining process. This is where the material is removed from a raw block to create the final shape of the club. Machining uses a cutting tool to shape the material into the form defined in the design definition stage. In the machining stage, CNC, computer numerical control, machines are used to make precise cuts. Only then will players have reliable and highly accurate clubs. In the manufacture of iron clubs, there is little human interference. The metal block is fixed to the CNC machine and the cutting tool is programmed via computer to remove the material and ensure greater precision. In this stage, the texture and surface design are defined to improve sensitivity and grip during the swing. Are you ready to learn about the next stage of golf club manufacturing? It's time to talk about drilling and threading. Drilling and threading allow for the placement of weights and the attachment of the club's handle. In this stage, a hole is made in the metal with the help of a drill, and the size and exact location to be drilled will vary depending on the design and how it was designed in the initial stage of manufacturing. Once the hole is made, the threading process begins, which is the moment when threads are created inside the hole, allowing a screw to be inserted to attach the weight or handle. Threading can be done manually or automatically using specific machines for this purpose. Machines ensure the production of precise and uniform threads. The durability and stability of the club will depend on the quality of the drilling and threading. If a hole is made in the wrong place or a poorly made thread, the gameplay of the club will be compromised, increasing the risk of damage or premature wear. At this stage, the golf club takes shape, and in the next stage, the main part of the club will be joined to other components. Now, let's learn about the welding process. It is during welding that different components of the club, such as the head and handle, are joined to create a single piece with high strength. Intense heat is used to melt the metal of all components, creating a unique and permanent piece. Different welding techniques are used in this stage, such as electric arc welding, spot welding, and resistance welding, depending on the material and the purpose of the club. If the club has any unique features, such as weight cavities or spin control grooves, they are incorporated during the welding process to improve the club's performance during games. After all the parts are welded together and the club becomes a single piece, it's time for painting and finishing. During this stage, the club is given a professional and attractive appearance. To paint the club, a layer of electrostatic powder paint is applied, followed by a high-temperature curing process to fix the paint onto the club. Once painted, the club is almost ready, but it still needs final finishing. This includes polishing, sanding, and laser engraving to ensure a smooth, uniform, and professional finish. This stage also allows the club to be personalized according to a player's specific requirements, such as colors, details, writing, and specific patterns. If you think the painting process is just for aesthetic purposes, you're mistaken. The paint also serves to protect the club against damage and corrosion. The electrostatic powder paint is highly resistant to scratches and wear, thus increasing the equipment's lifespan. During final assembly and finishing, all club components, such as the head and grip, are joined together using a process known as fixing and fitting, ensuring a secure, durable, and high-performance golf club. At this stage, accessories, stickers, and logos can also be added if required. Next, the club goes through another finishing stage where a layer of varnish or resin is applied to protect it from wear and fading. This layer can be applied manually, but in most factories, it's done using a process known as vacuum spraying. Laser engraving of the manufacturer's information, serial number, and player's name can also be added if requested. This is not only done for equipment personalization, but also for identification and ensuring traceability throughout the production process. Testing and adjustments are performed throughout the entire production process of golf clubs to ensure they meet the quality and performance standards required by players. Each component of the golf club is individually tested to ensure it meets the specifications and performance criteria. When the club is assembled, it undergoes resistance and performance tests in specific laboratories. These tests include impact force, torsion resistance, flexion, and stability in different weather conditions and playing terrains. But testing is not only done in laboratories, the clubs also undergo practical tests on golf courses. This is done to ensure that performance is evaluated in game situations and all adjustments can be made for the player to have the best possible experience. It is during testing and adjustments that manufacturers define new models and designs for the next clubs to be produced to meet the needs and preferences of each player. This stage identifies items such as weight adjustment, balance, head size, and shape. After ensuring that everything is within the standards and quality criteria, the clubs undergo an inspection and are packaged for shipment to distributors or directly to golf stores for you to purchase. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss any new videos about golf.